Okay, it is Wednesday morning and we're joined by Gabriel McSharry, a medical herbalist and nutritionist in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Margaret.
How are you?
Very good now.
Good. Now, this morning, of course, firstly, listeners can send in their questions to 083 3500 530, which is text, and calls at 0818 365 500. But this morning we're going to be talking about sleep and how people cannot, maybe have restless nights and they can't get to sleep.
Yeah, so some people, they've erratic sleep. There's the end stage, I guess, or a chronic state is called insomnia, and that's where they find it hard to get any sleep. But generally, the average person can, at periods of time, experience disturbed sleep, and a lot of people ask me, what can be done and so on. There's some general tips. First off, one should sleep in complete darkness or as close as possible. So even if there's a tiniest bit of light in the room, it can disturb your what they call circadian rhythm. And you have this gland in the body. It's kind of complex on a biochemistry level, but the pineal gland produces two hormones, melatonin and serotonin. And these are really important for sleep, for good quality, consistent sleep. There should only be, as little light as possible. And they did some really good research in sleep labs on this, where even the small LEDs from a TV or a mobile phone or an alarm clock, a small little light can disrupt these two hormones, which...
so even your alarm clock?
Yeah. So instead of having they're called LEDs, but the electric ones that kind of have shiny light, don't have one of them and have something that you can't see. So really, the recommendation is to sleep where you can't. If you held your hand up in front of your face, you can't see it. That now is the recommendation, where so it should be as dark as possible. So obviously, if you have on-street lighting, you get things like blackout blinds, or as I say, electronic equipment. The amount of stuff now in some bedrooms, like TVs and mobile phones charging and stuff. And as I say, they've done a good bit of research on this, and they can affect these hormones. So I guess the circadian rhythm is day and night, light, dark, and it's kind of getting back to kind of nature's natural cycle. But the basic recommendation would be during the day get as much natural light as possible and sunlight. Expose yourself to as much natural light as possible, and then during the night, like if you expose yourself to as much natural light as possible, you're going to be producing serotonin. And then during the night, if you're in as much darkness as possible, you're producing loads of melatonin. And that's the way it should work. And if there's any disruption to that, you don't either produce enough serotonin or enough melatonin. So if during the day you're indoors all the time under artificial light, like many of us are in offices and so on, it's really important to try and get out for your breaks and for lunchtime and expose yourself to natural light and sun if it's there. The same during the night. It's important to eradicate all light from your bedroom and also the bathroom, the ensuite maybe. So if you get up and urinate in the middle of the night, it's important not to turn on the light, because then that straight away flips a switch and you stop producing melatonin. If you can kind of make your way around in the dark, that'll be better. However, don't fall down the stairs or whatever, So that's a general recommendation, and as I said, I've done a lot of research on that, so much so that it's not just it gets in through the eyelids. They did research where they shone a light at the back of people's knees when they were sleeping, and that affected the production of melatonin. So, some people more than others can be more sensitive to light, but it's just something some people don't think about. Other things, if you're trouble sleeping, listen to soft music or relaxing music, sounds of nature, stuff like that. People have found that very helpful. I'd avoid before bed snacks, especially grains and sugar. This will raise blood sugar levels and inhibit sleep. And later, sometimes the blood sugar drops so low, or hypoglycemia, you may wake up and not be able to get back to sleep. So that's can affect a lot of people, but definitely people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. A recommendation on TV: no TV right before bed. Even better, get the TV out of the bedroom. The bedroom should be kept for sleep, if at all possible. So some people watch TV in bed, some people work on a laptop or do some work before bed, and that it's not recommended. Really for an hour or so before bed, you should really wind down the mind, and the TV can be too stimulating to the brain, and it'll take longer to fall asleep.
For some people, even for, I think, medical reasons, that wouldn't have a TV in the room. They just don't like.
Yeah, well, they're
be given off for.
Yeah, they're the EMFs. I come to them.
Oh, you come to them, okay.
Electromagnetic frequency. Well, I'll address it now. There's electromagnetic frequency, and it's what we call invisible smog or electrosmog, and obviously these days it's more prominent than decades gone by, we'll say. So if you just think about the amount of electronic equipment we have in the bedroom or in the house in general, so mobile phone, you should really turn that off when you sleep, unless you're a doctor on call or an emergency service. But really it should be off.
This idea, of people with their mobile phone beside their pillow or on their locker, and they have it on all the time or charging all the time.
If you look into the electronics of it, the mobile phone handshakes with the base station, with the network, which is miles away. Some phones every 15 seconds. So it's sending out a signal and it's receiving a signal. But this is going on, and it really is through the body, and there's more and more science now pointing that this isn't good for the cells. It affects our DNA and so on. But maybe it might be a big ask to say get rid of your mobile phone altogether, but definitely at night time, when you're not using it, turn it off. And if you use it for an alarm, most of them now will turn itself on and the alarm goes off. You don't need to leave it on. So really, that should be off. Broadband, if you have wireless broadband, which a lot of people have now, and they have it plugged in and just leave it plugged in all the time, knock that off at night. Again, it's sending out quite a strong signal to a laptop or whatever, and there's nothing on and there's nothing receiving it. So it's radiating through your body and through your neighbours as well. It has quite a large span. Other things like cordless phones also emit a signal. So this is all electrosmog, and again, some people don't even know it's there. Other people are very sensitive to it, and it can create a lot of health problems and disturb sleep a lot. And children, and kids and small babies and that, they're more sensitive to this electrosmog. So I suppose coming back to the TV, they do emit these things as well, and hi-fi stereos, anything where the voltage has to be stepped down before it goes into the appliance. There's this EMF field created, electromagnetic frequency. So something to be aware of, and it's as I say, you can't see it. So
because people wouldn't necessarily think of that. I mean, there's some people who cannot live unless their mobile phone's in their hand or somewhere near them, and it's the same. They have to have their phone around them all the time, and I suppose the same for all the electronic equipment of the day that they can have around them, all the better. It's not good.
No, definitely, especially when you're asleep. When you're asleep, the body repairs itself, and if you look into what happens in the anatomy when you sleep, your body goes into a state of paralysis, except the autonomic nervous system, except your lungs and your brain and your heart, they keep the system going, we'll say. But everything that you use for digestion and for muscles, you don't use these systems. Well, you shouldn't. That's why you shouldn't eat a lot before you go to bed. Really, your digestion should shut down and your muscles should shut down, and all the enzymes and cofactors and processes you use to fuel them during the day, they stop, and then they go to other organs and do repair work and so on. So it's very important to get to that stage, and that's at the highest quality of sleep. So there's different stages, and again they measure it through brainwave activity, and I forget the exact names of the stages, but it's something like this, that alpha sleep is where, there's 4 stages. Alpha sleep is where you're kind of dozed off and sleepy, yet you're aware of the environment. So
this is kind of, would it be when you doze off in the chair, maybe?
Yeah, you can still kind of hear what's going on, but you're not really too bothered. And then there's beta sleep, where you're kind of out and you're non-responsive to stimuli or sound or whatever. And then there's REM, and this is where we dream, and this is an important state to get to. And then the deepest form of sleep is theta sleep, theta brainwave frequency, and it's where, as I was saying, we go into paralysis and the body does a lot of repair physically, but also the mind repairs. So the mind, like a computer, I guess, it takes things that it sees as irrelevant and kind of deletes them, and then it stores short-term memory into long-term memory and so on. The body repairs things like, we all tear little muscles and stuff throughout the day, and that's normal. It's normal to strain muscles and stuff from physical activity, we say, but you repair them during sleep. So that's why it's very important to have consistent, good quality sleep all the time, because we're constantly straining ourselves, but we're constantly repairing ourselves as well, unless you're not getting adequate sleep, and then therefore you're losing a good repair phase, and hence we'll age a lot faster. Other recommendations would be wearing socks. Actually, is one that if you have poor circulation and you have cold feet, some people find it hard to sleep with cold feet. I know a hot water bottle is great, but if you wear socks, you could get around that, and that's that might stop people waking up as well. Reading is good. People find it relaxing. Some people, however, get stimulated if they read a mystery or suspense novel. So look out for that. And if it's something that you can't kind of turn off from, then maybe it's not the best stuff to be reading late at night. Maybe something more spiritual or religious or something. It'd probably be better. The hormones I mentioned, melatonin, serotonin, these are precursors, dietary precursors. So, the raw materials in the diet that we use to produce these. And tryptophan is the main one, or 5-hydroxytryptophan. And we get this is high in turkey or dark meats or eggs, because they have these amino acids, L-tryptophan, in them. So something like that, if one is to have supper or something after tea, something like that. A boiled egg is something that probably be a better snack later in the evening than anything else. And again, you'll have these this protein, L-tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin. Probably get to bed as early as possible too. We tend to stay up. Well, our sleep time tends to be dictated by the TV sometimes these days, but our system, particularly our adrenal glands, do the majority of the recharging or recovering during the hours of 11 to 1. and I think your gallbladder dumps toxins during the same period. So if you're awake between 11 and 1, the toxins can back up in the liver and secondarily back up in the entire system. So if you can get to bed between 9 and 11, I think is the best time, but before 11 p.m. And it doesn't matter when you wake up as such, from 5 on or whatever, but it's important to there's a window too. If you miss the window, say if you don't go to bed till after midnight, sometimes you're going to find it hard to get to sleep then, because you've missed your natural window, we'll say. So these are all things to take into account. Establish a good bedtime routine and keep it consistent. So some people find it hard to sleep maybe at the start of the week because maybe on the weekends they were up later than their normal consistent schedule, and so it's important to try and keep it consistent. So there are just some, lifestyle recommendations. Going to the bathroom before you go to bed too could be good, might reduce the amount, or if any occasion that you might have to get up and urinate in the middle of the night, which is going to disturb it obviously. So watch the fluids as well, maybe not 2 hours before you go to bed, avoid fluids. Herbal medicines work really good, especially for insomnia and stuff. Okay,
well what we're going to do is we have a quick break to take and we'll come back to those herbal medicines just after this break. The McSharry Foley time. It is now approaching 25 minutes past 11 o'clock.
Time in Northwest today, thanks to McSharry Foley, your leading broker for car, van and house insurance. McSharry Foley, for the best cover, best price, best advice. 071 91 424 99. Ocean FM.
Recession-beating directory inquiries. 11-8-19.
Baby Essentials of Enniskillen and Omagh specialise in all requirements for a new baby arrival. Stocking top brands. Special promotion. Purchase a Streety travel system, steriliser, Moses basket and stand for only £315. Only at Baby Essentials, Enniskillen and Omagh. 048 66 325 777.
Clarion Hotel Sligo Wedding Fair, Sunday the 7th of March, €20,000 Wedding Fair giveaway. MC on the day, Darren Kennedy, TV presenter and stylist. And a host of wedding service providers catering for all your needs with a fashion show and beauty tips on the day. Enquiries to 071 911 9003 or email bgallagher@clarionhotelsligo.com. Clarion Hotel Sligo Wedding Fair, Sunday the 7th of March.
Elite Brides, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Stockist of designer bridal wear, formal wear, communion wear, shoes and accessories. New and exclusive designer labels to the Northwest. Visit our website, elitebrides.ie, or call 074 91 77719 for your free private consultation. Perfect dresses for that perfect day.
I love traditional music. I mean, it's so organic, yeah? It's like you guys never had a lesson and you don't have to practice. You play naturally, yeah?
Listen, right, to make the right sound, you need the right people, playing the right instruments, and the right man in charge.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Follow Donal Lunny over 8 weeks as he scours the country to find the best young musicians and turn them into a top band. Lord Lunny, 10:30pm Wednesdays at TG Car. The more you watch, the more you see. TG Car, Sulella.
King and Moffat Euronics Red Hot Valentine Specials. Siemens 7 kilo 1400 spin washer was €499. Now only €459. King and Moffat Euronics, Boyle Road, Carrick-on-Shannon. 0719622 847.
Do you need blinds? Then call Smart Blinds Donegal, because at Smart Blinds you can get 30% off. Yes, 30% off roller and vertical blinds. Call Smart Blinds for your home visit free quotation. Smart Blinds, cover the county of Donegal. 074 916 8737.
To have your say, call the Northwest Today comment line on 0818 365 500. Text your comment to 083 3500 530.
And you're very welcome back to Northwest Today. We are in the company of Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist, and we're talking about getting you to sleep. Now, some herbal medicines to help?
Yeah, so there's natural sedatives, some really good ones are St. John's wort, valerian, hops, lemon balm, and they're internal herbs, internal medicines, and they can work really, really well I have a few more at the dispensary, and I generally blend them. So I find a formula I make up, a capsule I make up with a mixture of St. John's wort, valerian and hops works extremely well for a lot of people. And it depends really on the person, but you can sometimes capsules are better than alcohol tinctures for sleep, because one thing I didn't mention is alcohol. There's certain stimulants that should be avoided after 6 p.m. probably, and that's alcohol and caffeine and caffeinated beverages. So a lot of tea and sometimes dark chocolate and stuff, and Coke and stuff like that, they all contain caffeine, and these energy drinks too, watch them. So some people feel alcohol helps them sleep, makes them drowsy, but in fact, if you pass out from excess alcohol, you get a false sleep. It's been noted. So even though you're out of it, you're actually exhausted the next day because you don't really get to that quality sleep, as I mentioned earlier. And it's shown too for sleeping tablets, pharmaceuticals, it's the same. You may not get to that deep level of sleep.
So is that kind of a false sleep then?
Yeah, so you're actually knocking yourself out yet. You're not getting that quality sleep, so you're running up a sleep debt. And, down the track, as I say, you won't get that repair in your muscles or your digestive tract and so on, and you might get aches and pains in your musculature and so on. And really what you need to do is just get good quality sleep. So it takes time too, actually. I'll mention it's not something that if you did all these recommendations and took some herbs that straight away you're going to get knocked out, It's just not that acute, and it takes a bit of time. You need to generally change your environment and your lifestyle and diet and stuff. And, obviously exercise during the day is really beneficial for good quality sleep, because if you're getting out, getting fresh air, getting moving, getting exercise, you're going to have better quality sleep.
What about this? Some people say you need to get 8 hours sleep. And some people say, sure, after 5 hours I'm great.
Yeah, I think it's horses for courses here, in that some people can go on 5 hours and they're fine. But generally it'll be a consistent 5 hours. And then some people need 8 hours. So I say generally between 5 and 8 hours, depending on the type of person you are. If you've no health problems and you've enough energy to do the things that you do during the day and so on, and you sleep 5 hours and you feel good, well then that's fine. That's probably what you need. But some people need up to 8, so I don't think there can be one gold standard. I'd say everyone needs 8 hours and so on.
Everyone's different.
But definitely below 5 and probably over 9 hours is either too little or too much. You can oversleep as well, should be something that looks into. If you sleep too long, you really need to get that looked at,
Okay. Now, some of the questions that are coming into us. What is good for burning in the feet, severe burning in the soles of the feet? And anything that you could suggest for someone who has cold feet?
Yeah, well, for the cold feet, maybe try wearing the socks or getting a hot water bottle down there. Well, that's at night generally, but if you have cold hands and feet, generally you have poor circulation. Again, at the clinic I use circulatory stimulant herbs, heat up the body, increase blood flow to the extremities. Also, it may indicate poor cardiovascular function if you have poor circulation. So if you have cold feet and you also have, say, a lot of varicose veins and stuff like that, then you probably have poor integrity of the veins and the arteries, and that affects circulation. And that's something, I treat with herbs and diet and stuff, but it's something you need to look at as a more holistic approach.
Okay. Hi, Mags. Can you ask Gabriel about my mum? She's 83 and suffers Gout. Yeah, she has gout. She wakes up a few times at night and has to stand out on the bathroom tile floor for relief.
Oh.
That's not very good, is it?
No. So, well, I suppose if she just stand out in the tiles, it's obviously it cools them down and she gets relief there. It's like gout can be generally affects the big toes. Can affect the hands and all the other toes.
Is that a swelling, is it, or what is it?
Yeah, there's an inflammation, a red, hot inflammation, extremely painful. And it's probably why she stands on the tiles, is to kind of cool it down. You know, inflammation in general is it brings heat to the area, and there's a swelling and it's very red. But a number of people have reported to me where their gout at night can flare up, even if you have a sheet. If your foot is under a sheet, just the weight of the sheet could be extremely painful.
Really? Okay.
In general, as I said, the big toe seems to affect a lot. Gout, again, something that needs to be a good work over in the clinic. Diet, lifestyle, and herbs. Altogether, kind of a three-pronged approach can have quite a beneficial effect on gout. It's a form of arthritis. It's where the body dumps uric acid generally into the joints as opposed to passing it in the urine. So, and for a long time it was seen as the fix is to reduce foods that make you produce urea or uric acid, but not just too much not very effective. And generally your red meats, red wine, and so on, they were the things. However, just in the last 7 years, a great study published in the British Medical Journal on gout, it shows that fructose seems to be the smoking gun now, in that if you have a high fructose diet, fructose is a fruit sugar, and as I said before, if you're eating the whole fruit, that's okay, but if you're drinking fruit juices, you're getting a lot of fruit sugar, more than you normally would if you had the fruit,
Mm-hmm.
But also now your minerals, your soft drinks, instead of sugar or along with sugar, they have a thing called high fructose corn syrup, and it's very cheap to produce it from corn, and it's used now as a sweetener in a lot of the jellies and the drinks and so on. Something you really want to look out for and avoid, along with sugar in general. But what it does anyway is high intakes of fructose blocks your excretion of urea in the kidneys. So if you're going to block it, and urea is a toxin, the body's going to get it and dump it somewhere else just to get it out, and it generally dumps it into the toes or the fingers. And so cutting down on, like as I say, it's an overall approach now. I have a diet I give to people with gout, works really well, and there's some really great herbs that will increase the excretion of uric acid in the kidneys. So
it's down to diet really again, isn't it? Or something?
Yeah, definitely. But it's to get the right one. Like, there's a lot of misinformation out there on gout, and maybe if that woman's granny, or was it her mother, Mum, she can give me a ring, and we can talk about it again.
Okay, and for people who want to contact you, Gabriel, just before I let you go.
Yeah, 07191 42940.
42940. Okay, Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist. Thanks for joining us. Of course, you're back with us again next Wednesday morning. Now, the McSharry Foley time, it's 11:37.
Time in Northwest.